Here we go. We're going to start this mic, one globe. Will, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and start with the open mic again. Put in Moon or Luna in the chat box if you'd like to share. So I'm going to pass the mic to Mauricio Moreno. Hi.
There's no pressure at all to be the first.
Start with that fire right away.
I picked this for you since this was one of your prompts. If y'all don't know, Alex Petunia makes some awesome poetic contributions. And one of those was having many 30-day prompts, poetry prompts. And they really helped and inspired me to continue writing. So the prompt for this was hands. So I call this wild hands. My finger runs across my palm, searching for calluses, only finding soft skin, sheltered thumbs, knuckles, thirsty for pain. Blisters from plucked guitar strings have long healed, as has the fire in my gut to be a traveling bard, leaving folktales and adventures in my wake. Dead skin waits in the space where my palm and fingers meet, begging for steel as my hands feel a pen, forced to contend with cheap metal and blank pages. Unbroken fingernails jut out, uneven, untrimmed, dreaming of wet sand and soft dirt, blades of grass and cattails caressing my fingers as I run past, chasing yet another sunset. Now these unbroken fingernails scratch puppy heads and clean litter boxes. But still these knuckles crack under pressure of boredom, longing for canvas-covered bags and stone walls, bleeding for a reason to be tested, burning holes in my pockets, longing to meet the face of whoever left their mask on the concrete. These wild animals attached to my arms are now domesticated, obeying my commands, milked as I forgo primitive desires for higher callings. My pen is now my sword. My paper is now my canvas, until I stick them in the ground again, just for old time's sake. Thank you, Alex. LA Poet Society, thank you for having the space for us.
Thank you, Mauricio. That was beautiful. And that is one of my favorite poems of yours, just thinking about wild hands and then turning that into your pen as a sword. Yes. Thank you for your first poetry and starting us off tonight strong. And so I feel like we're in a space where if we are feeling called to unmute and snap in awe after a poet shares, I will welcome that. If we're featuring too, let's wait till the feature finishes and then we can go ahead and just roar loudly together. So please unmute, give Mauricio some love for starting us off with that powerful poem. Awesome. Thank you. So next up, I have Kundan. Please welcome to the mic. Hi, Kundan. Former previous feature of One Mic, One Globe. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Yeah, so this being Pride Month, one of the things I've been doing is paying homage to my favorite poems and poets by writing a series of poems that are based on other poems. And it's a modification of a prompt by the poet Ayumi Mia Malhotra, whose advisor gave her a prompt to, so basically I modified it a little bit. Basically, I'm writing a poem based on a famous poem revised in the style of another famous poem. So this one is based on Rabindranath Tagore's love poem number 9, revised in the style of Audre Lorde's poem, Movement Song. And so Tagore was a Bengali poet who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. And Audre Lorde was a Black feminist, queer, lesbian poet icon who wrote amazing essays, including Poetry is Not a Luxury, which I recommend everyone reads. And I read it almost every day, actually, almost as like part of my morning ritual. So yeah, this is called Dreams of New Tomorrows Grounded in Today by Kundan Chhabra, based on Tagore's Love Poem number 9, revised in the style of Audre Lorde's movement song. Do not dream of these bridges made of my many bodies, nor these myth makers telling tall tales, spinning tapestries full of darkness before dawn, false hope like sugar with no spice. Do not be trapped by my tears of agony and longing, fading you into what you may not want to do, that you can't say no to lest it bust your fantasy bubble. When you wake up, forget the quake last night, shattering your worldview. Stop looking for secrets or any you remembered. Just keep a lookout. For my warm, real flesh that can bleed easily here now. Listen closely for the inner silence. Inside all your fellow passengers, including me, then maybe someday you might spot a rainbow behind my tears. If you see the beauty of tears themselves and not just the rainbow, maybe I will let you wipe mine. That's that piece. Yeah.
Thank you, Kundan. I really think it's phenomenal how you're combining styles and poems from, you know, some of the greats and just bringing poetry to a whole nother level of creativity and power. Thank you, Kundan. Good to hear you again. So next on the mic, I'm going to invite Caro. Hi, Caro.
Hi, Alex. Hi,
Hello,
everybody. Hello. I'm happy to be here. So I wrote a book this past year. It's called Loving My Salt-Drenched Bones. And as part of the community literature initiative, and I know some of you folks are familiar with that. I know Charlie wrote a book with CLI as well. Hi, Charlie. And so I'm going to be pitching my book on Saturday to presses. So I'm going to read one of the poems that is part of my pitch. Oh yeah, and hey Brenda. I didn't send Willie. Hi Willie. Okay. Anyway, Toya. It's good to see everybody here. Edgar. Okay. It's called I Want to Belong. I look at flights to Bangladesh. Research best times to visit, before or after monsoon season. I watch YouTube videos of tigers in the Sundarban forest, compare prices of package tours through tea plantations. Dhaka or hotels are cheap. I look at flights to Bangladesh, where my father lives, where his family lives, Khulna, where he grew up. Half my genes connected to land I have never seen. Afraid they'll call me American, for America stamped itself on my skin. Will their eyes peruse my sand-hued flesh? Will they wonder where I'm from? I want to belong. I'm afraid that I'll be a stranger where I hope to find intimacy. I look at flights to Bangladesh. Budget. Calculate costs, Google Maps satellite views, ponder my savings. My passport expires. I told myself I'd go before it did. I daydream I find my grandmother in a bustling city center plaza. She knows who I am. It's the eyes, she says, just like your father's. She takes me to her home where we pray. She does my hair presents me with a sari. She doesn't call me bastard or half caste or half breed. I look at flights to Bangladesh. I look at flights to my grandmother's cinnamon scented arms. They cost too much. Thank you, everybody, for hearing that and holding space for my poem. And I can't wait to hear all your poetry.
Ooh, yes, Caro, I cannot wait for that book. And congratulations on, you know, making it happen for yourself, for your words, for the poetry community. I mean, it's going to be such a blessing for us all to read your book. Yes, that last line. So I have, I'm going to bring up next William to the mic. Passing the mic to you, Will. Hi, I'm so happy to see you.
What's up, guys? Hey.
Hi.
What up, squad? Like so many of y'all are here, our squad. Like, I'm tired, sorry. I just came back from hiking, so like I'm extremely tired. Almost fell asleep. So yeah, I'm just gonna do this. This poem I wrote, it's a poem I wrote in, what is it, like, in dedication, sorry, in dedication to a rapper that I was really into, that I'm really into. He battles with, he just came back from like a long hiatus, and he was talking about his issues with addiction, more specifically with alcoholism. I've been dealing with that myself, being very honest about that, but like, so I wrote a poem in response to it. I hope you guys understand, like it references a lot of his pieces, but I hope it still stands alone. So this poem is called, all right, A Poetic Response to Isaiah Rashad's Second Confession of Addiction. Hold up, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and do this. This is the first time I'm gonna try to do it like memorized, so like hopefully I get it correctly. I'm not getting up, sorry. If I could pay my bills, I'm good. I'm coming over, found a message in a bottle. Your son is coming up. By the beer, by it, by boo. What Yari saying, you ain't nothing but a baby. Your fear is growing up. I found a message in a bottle. It said, I see you, embrace you, validate you, acknowledge what you going through, feel your chill blood. Neglection got you icy. Can I offer you warmth? I got the muse for you, Viber. Can transform your melancholy into art, turn your deep pit of sorrow into melody, make it music for the vibers. Oh, you stuck in the mud? Let me help you out. Numb you while you power through it. See, all you need is a bit of strength. I'm here with you. I can hold you in my arms like no one else does. I know you feel alone, but not with me. I see the beast in you. I know what's wrong. Well, got you running in circles. Chasing that meal ticket when all you want is to make your mind stop running in circles. I could bring out your talent, help you find that meal ticket, erase those circles, fuck those circles. You may walk with a wobble, but you see straight with me. You a king. I'm just a OE in your chalice, dripping out while you raise your arms where they call you that nigga. But even when they call you that nigga, they still don't see you. Nigga only demands, where's that new shit? Where's that new shit? Fans love you, but don't see you. So you drown in despair while they ask, where's that new shit? Fuck that new shit, nigga, I'm dying. Fuck about what you think of me. All you want is my work, but I'm dying. But you don't care, just want me to get to work. So I sip on this drink, cause that's how I learned how to kill the beat. You know it's scrub, you know it's scrub, you know it. I know I'm a scrub, cause I ain't doing shit, no new shit, just me. Not writing, just dying, just me. All the excuses in the world, like they say, they just excuses, just me. Not doing shit, just drinking and ordering gourmet sandwiches at the strip club, seeing titties and throwing dollar bills, just me, not doing shit, should be in AA, but trust me, I feel like the man slowly losing his buzz, trying to escape into this buzz, can't even pay his bills. What Yari saying about a brother about a father who can't keep himself up. You ain't nothing but a baby, your fear is going up. If I could pay my bills, I'm good. I'm coming over, found a message in a bottle. Your son is coming up. By the beer, by it, by boo. What Yari saying, you ain't nothing nothing but a baby. Your fear is going up. Thank you.
Woo! Again, unmute.
That's awesome.
Yes. Ooh. Thank you for sharing that for the first time with us. And always just sharing so honestly and genuinely, like who you are, what you're about. Yeah. I appreciate you, William.
I appreciate you. You know I appreciate you though. That's
Yes,
why I came through.
yes.
I would have been sleeping otherwise, but you know it's you, so I got you.
Well, thanks for staying up with us. Oh, I appreciate you. This mic has been so fire already, and I get to bring up one. I'm going to bring up one more open mic share, and then start our features. So thank you, William. The next poet I'd like to invite to the mic is Lady Rose.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, welcome.
So hello everybody. So this piece I'm gonna do is also the first time I'm doing it. So, and it's funny because I think I started it in a workshop some months ago. And then last night I was looking through half finished poems and decided to add a couple of lines and decided it was finished. So I've only read it a couple of times to myself even, so we'll see. And the question in the workshop was, or the task was to visualize what love looks like. So, love looks like dark chocolate covered protection, sweet yet solid and strong on my lips and tongue. I wish to have another taste, to repeat the phrases of speech that makes me warm and giddy with butterflies and rosy cheeks. It manages to calm me, lower walls, soften and unclench my jaw, minimize questions and second guessing what my heart desires. The sweat and tears released from the heat of you and me waters and nourishes the seeds of this shared being, hopefully a forever thing called love. Thank you.
Yes. Ooh, a forever thing called love. Thank you for sharing that with us. And, you know, I think it's beautiful how workshops, you know, create these seedlings and then we revisit them and they turn into this beautiful bouquet of a poem with lines that just really, really hit us. So thank you, LaToya. Lady Rose, thank you for being here. And I'm just like in awe of the people who have shared so far. They have been former features and they keep coming back and sharing their poetry with us on the open mic. And so I just, I appreciate you all. You make this mic such a special space for the community. And with that, I'd like us to dive into our amazing set of features. I'm grateful to Jordan, River, Pastiche will be joining us soon. Charlie, Elvia, all of you, I am super excited. I'm going to bring up our first featured guest, and let me bring up the bio here. So I'd like to introduce you to our first feature, Jordan Gaona-Wilson. Jordan writes, Jordan has experience with theater making, creative writing, art, as well as some public speaking and workshop events. Jordan is Afro-Latinx, non-binary, queer, trans, and chronically ill disabled. These identities do not exist in isolation, nor are they inherently radical. Rather, they form their experience of the world. They are passionate about art and theater that is accessible, engaging, and empowers marginalized folks like themselves. Because of how their identities intersect with different communities, discussions within them inform the work they do, whether it be physical art, writing, directing, or public speaking. So I'd like to pass the mic to Jordan. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Everyone who's gone on has been really great. Like, thank you so much for letting me be a part of the space and featuring me. So I have a few pieces that I'd like to share. One of them's a bit longer, the rest of them pretty moderate sized. And I think I'll just get straight into it if everyone's cool with that. All right. So the first one is a short one, and this one is called Penance. I tried so hard to forget that I was a sinner, scrub my body of all memories. Shame is proof and price of existence. Self-harm is penance. I tried so hard to forget that I was a sinner that I forgot that I had committed no sin. And then the second one is called How to Build a Body. A newborn body, carefully carried and buried with equal care. It is born from ash and dust and blood and bones. It carries the wishes of elders past and their grief. The food we eat, handed from hand to mouth, travels like secrets, always lost and never kept. Wisdom gained is unmatched to the stories lost to time, forgotten, or plain run. Scrubbed and clean from all records, it is born anew with all past sins forgiven. A voice screams in the chorus, let no new roots grow here, for the ground is poison. But that has not stopped blood before. The newborn doll sits, kept and seen, on the mantle until the mantles fall. As undisturbed as on the mantle, the home will eventually fall too. It will be quiet for eons until the body had long gone to the weeds. Are you letting time pass until you can no longer remember the body underneath the growing grass? Time passed. Weeds grew. I did not. Years I was left trying to scavenge enough pieces to make a body. I consumed an aching heart before I realized that it was supposed to be beating what I would have given to be hidden. A new form is made. It aches in the light, for it is not made of sin. Pray to the pieces gifted and buried the pieces that could no longer remember the light. A familiar melody of a broken record plays. There is very little to go back to. I must remember this when I ache for home. I must remember that I raise a body that was not meant to be raised by my hands. And end. Okay. And so this next one is called A Bite-Sized Cataclysm. I'm struggling to understand things bigger than myself. So I dig my toes in the hot, dry sand until I find the cool, damp earth just underneath it. And I lay with the rest of my body on a blanket, watching both an ant crawl at the edge of the blanket and the scrawny branches swaying in the heat above me. Heat hot enough that it burns your nostrils. I overhear a walking couple saying that the overbearing pollen complements the burning of the heat. See, I know something they don't. I know that it's because male trees don't bear fruit, and they can only bear pollen. In an attempt to keep the look of clean streets, they were overly planted decades before we were even thought of. But without fruit, the pollen simply wanders, not knowing the wave of damage simply caused by their wanting. And now, you know too. I admire them in that way, obnoxious and overly present. I don't interrupt their wandering conversation. I don't imagine it would add to anything. I would only be able to recommend a slightly stronger allergy medicine. I do not know how to make the world small again. So I stay sitting under this tree, continuing to watch the scrawny branch fight the wind. I don't know how or when I learned how to recognize my voice. I learned that I know that I learned some notes before the harmonies, and my voice was bigger before it was small. Small phrases forming before we even knew that there were words for it. Odd and uneven, crooked. I try to figure out how fast I would need to move if the tree branch broke. Maybe it would be good to forget some things again. To not know cataclysms or how worlds begin and end, or how it feels to know when your own world has collapsed. What does a bite-sized cataclysm even look like? How do you begin to imagine it? A destructive petite fours? A deep-fried hand pie of revelation? A snack-sized pudding cup with an atomic bomb that you take in a little baggie for lunch, not knowing that you're holding a whole world in your small sticky hands. It's the end of that piece. So I believe this one is the last one I'm sharing. And this one is called Orville and Voices. I remember that I forgot my name again, as I hold my own hand again and write it down to avoid forgetting it again. I must have written it down somewhere. It must be in the same place that I put down my voice to rest it for the evening. I find it scrawled next to the cat on the dining room table, and a note that it just left me to read. In case you have lost me, I should remind you for both our sakes. You will not find me in your readings and textbooks, many of which have since been donated on my behalf, and likely collect dust on another student's shelf. You are more likely to lose me on a long sleepless night, and do not rummage through the trash that is the fool's gold of anxiety on the longer endless days. There is little fruition that comes from that. Although those things can help sometimes, when you can't always name the feeling in your throat, I am found elsewhere. Do you remember how we met? This will help you find me when you forgot where you put me down. I turn the note over and read my notes in bullet pointed dots, clues I must have left for myself on long nights. I am found in conversations with our grandmother, where you will learn why her name is a nickname. I am found after you lose a friend, and the word that can barely come out the next day. I am found when we cannot move one more step forward, when someone comes to hold our hand as we take the next step. I am built in moments of kindness over cruelty, in leaves overlooking overpasses, when mistakes led to stories, when we finally learned how to soothe a small child, when someone told me they loved me and I could not respond similarly, or when the world finally gives pause to answer similarly for ourselves. The note ends. I grab a pen and add another bullet point to the note. I am often found next to sprawled out cats on dining room tables. That is the end of that piece.
Woo! Thank you so much, Jordan. Let's go ahead and unmute and give Jordan some love.
That was phenomenal. Oh my God. I'm going to be your new stalker. Work is amazing.
I appreciate it. Thank everyone for having me, and I'm so excited to hear what everyone else has for the rest of the night.
Jordan, if I could invite, how can we follow you and stay connected with you after tonight?
Yeah, my Instagram is the best place. I'm putting in the chat to keep up with everything that's happening. There's going to be a lot happening for me in this next few months. I also have like a table read for a devised theater piece that I've been working on that's happening this Saturday and Sunday that's free. So if anyone has a spare hour or two and would like to watch something, there's that. But thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you, Jordan. Everybody, let's like one more round for Jordan. I just feel like your voice is so soothing and your poetry is so raw and so present. And I just appreciate you for you know, these empowering words that you shared with us tonight and for saying yes to being a part of this. So thank you. So let's go ahead and bring up our next feature. I will go ahead and introduce our dear poet, River Leigh. Let me bring their bio up here. So River they, them, any pronouns, is a queer and non-binary poet and spoken word artist, formerly known as Leigh Poetry, from the Inland Empire of Southern California, and founder of the Verbal Coliseum at UC Riverside. They are inspired by the revolutionary exploration of the self and the natural world and the perseverance of the human spirit. So please welcome River Leigh to the mic. Woo-hoo.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes.
It's been a very busy week for us. My brother got married yesterday, kind of not last minute. I mean, like they were already engaged, but the wedding got moved up last minute from September to yesterday. So, and then we also moved apartments. So that's why you may see my dog in the background or people moving stuff. I apologize for that in advance. However, I managed to find all my notebooks. So I have a few little pieces that I'm going to share with y'all this evening. Thank you again so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And I hope you enjoy my work. The first piece I have is one that if you've seen me at a different open mic, you may have heard before. It's probably my most requested piece to do. And it's called Lighthouse. A lighthouse, you called me, shining light through the fog in your head, an anchor, lying next to you in bed, you said I gave you clarity. When I was gone, you couldn't see, but even in the dark, you should have felt that wasn't me. Being lost is no excuse, and now you'll have to make do because you broke my whole heart and it was still yours to choose. See, I trusted you enough to finally be myself. The most vulnerable I've ever been, and I called it growth, but I guess that I was wrong, because here lies the wreckage of the best ship I've ever sailed, and only you know what its name is. I guess I knew that this was temporary, but thought it'd end on my own terms. Now you've torn it all apart, while it's my chest that burns, and I treasured you. And yet, it wasn't enough. Now the seas are getting rough. Do you even know what it takes to run a lighthouse? Apparently not. You ask me to forgive you, say you're done with the lies, but how silly I'd be to believe you when your actions told me otherwise. You've made your mistake, and it's dark now. You're the only one here to blame. What we had, once so sweet, now lit up in flames, but I guess that's light to swim by, to the shores of distant goodbyes. Just, darling, please, don't drown. So that's the first one called Lighthouse. I'm switching between like 3 different notebooks right now, so forgive me if it takes me a couple seconds between them. This next one is kind of short. It's from this past year where I kind of fully came to terms with the, I guess, degree to which I am trans and non-binary, as well as being neurodivergent, which now seems incredibly obvious to me throughout my whole life. But of course, until that egg is cracked, it's a mystery. And so learning a lot about myself is kind of like what you'll see a lot of the themes are in this set I have to share with you today. You treat my anger like a stranger instead of childhood best friend. Maybe you're just learning to live with him, but we're ride or die until the end. Anger at injustice and the way things just have to be. Said to bury that part of me, but didn't know he was a seed. Now I've grown into what I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. My only regret, the time that I spent trapped in the dark instead of free. So that's that one. Let's see, in the other notebook, I have this one is kind of a similar theme. It's called Counting She's, like the pronoun she. If she were real, she'd be in her 2nd year of law school. She'd have an internship, a relationship, maybe she'd even have sailed a ship. If she were real, her hair would be so long by now. She would go through shampoo like wildfire and conditioner even faster. If she were real, you'd be asking her when she's getting married, about grandbabies. Meanwhile, she's considering a PhD. If she were real, maybe we would have healed by now. Maybe you would have better understood. Maybe she would have been able to explain. Maybe she wouldn't be afraid. I'm not anymore. She was never real, but I am. Your perception of me was always that, just yours, and I am not anymore. When I counted the days she's to sleep. Maybe if she were real, I could have stuck with sheep, but instead I always had nightmares. Even my daydreams had jump scares, and the only thing that could save my life was admitting nothing I knew was real and letting her die. So just know when you mourn my former parasite, it only proves that you were never on my side. So that's the third one, which is counting she's. I have this other one called Teeth next, if I can find it. This was the first day of National Poetry Month of last year, which is the closest I've ever gotten to writing a poem every day of the month, probably because I had nothing else to do. But you know, we'll take our wins where we can get them. This one's called Teeth. The light glows orange as I spit blood into the sink. I've been bleeding as I clean, and I've lost track of the weeks. They say that all carnies have bad teeth, which is to say the holes in my bones have roots deeper than you think, which is to say that my hands are always dirty and I can operate the heaviest machinery, which is to say that I know how to live off peanut butter sandwiches and baby wipe showers, which is to say that I smell like sunblock, midway dust, and sleeping uncomfortably on the floor, which is to say we never stay in the same place for long. And after years, I'm desensitized to the screams, which is to say that when I look back up into the mirror sometimes, I see my father, and it scares me. Maybe because I haven't seen a dentist since I was 8. Ask questions I can't really answer, even if I tried. Not that you're really listening. While you find ways to blame me for the pain you obviously cause, ignore your hand amid the crimson glistening. Maybe I haven't opened my mouth wide enough to let them see how much a man like you I can truly be. So I spit blood into the sink quietly and go to work, bearing the burden of teeth. Thank you. I have a couple more to share with you. Most of the ones I'm sharing this evening are kind of short, so I prepared a few of them. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate those. Those are very sweet. Let's see. I have one called Coming Out Day, which is in one of these notebooks here. I think. Nope, wrong one. This one is from this last year. Coming Out Day, so 2021, or I'm sorry, 2020, because it was the end of the year. I think it's in October. And I had moved to San Diego for a little while. Well, that's just wrong. Okay, maybe I can't find this one. I had moved to San Diego for a little while, so I went to Balboa Park for the first time on a first date, and it was really nice. And I had a poem about it that I now can't find. But that is all right. I will, oh wait. No, just kidding, wasn't it? Okay, well, you'll have to catch that one another time. I am gonna find Ode to Elsinore, which is a poem I wrote about where I'm from. I'm from Lake Elsinore, California, which is known for two things primarily. One, Ariana Grande licking a donut, and two, the super bloom, which is that big just hills of California poppies. People drive from all over the place to kind of take pictures and stuff with them. And so during National Poetry Month of 2019, I wrote a poem about that called An Ode to Elsinore. From the lakeside on down to Old Town, our roots run deep in these old stomping grounds. You've come a long way since Windsong. You know, just because it's home doesn't mean you belong. And those that are careless may crush the super bloom. But if these haunted hills can heal, then darling, so can you. So that one's Ode to Elsinore. And then I have, I think, 2 more for you that are kind of short. This one is actually a second part to Lighthouse. So one of my I guess better is subjective, but one of the poems that was really appreciated by the poetry club I started back in college is always kind of on my mind. I perform it a lot. And so I wrote a second kind of a follow-up to it this last year. Lighthouse Part 2. One day, the lighthouse left the cliff where it had always stood, unsure if I'd ever come back or if this was farewell for good. Sick of standing still for ungrateful ships to crash beneath, finally let my own light shine bright and guide the way for me. Ships that don't want to be saved will always find a way to sink into the sea. But from the wreckage, you can learn to build, and that is the real key. If you dare to unlock yourself from the cliffside that you know, may be the first lighthouse to brave the sea alone. The voyage will not be easy. No one knows what lies ahead, but better here than the cliffside, weathering away instead. So that was Lighthouse Part 2. And then that was going to be it, but I have one more that I want to share with you all because of something that the host mentioned earlier. You said, I love it when prompts, what was it? Prompts give you little seedlings that sprout into a bouquet of poems. And I really like that because I started realizing that like when you're brushing your teeth or you're, you know, doing whatever, you're in the car, sometimes just like 2 lines will come to you at a time and you're like, oh, that's so good. But the rest of the poem doesn't necessarily always come at the same time, even if you're sitting there trying to write. And so I am notorious for like writing those on Post-its and then losing them places and they just get all over my room and it's a disaster. And so I started doing this thing this last poetry month where I started a spark jar. And so every time one of those like 2 little lines or something will come to me, I will write it on my little Post-it and then I will put it into the spark jar. And then when I am trying to write something or I'm sitting down and I like need to write or it's National Poetry Month and I can't think of anything, I'll just pick a little Post-it out of the spark jar and see if those lines, you know, speak to me again and if I can find the rest of the poem. So I thought it was in here somewhere. But come on, Ode to the Spark Jar. It's called Ode to the Spark Jar. And it should be right. Oh, it's after this. Just kidding. So many. Oh, here we go. Okay, found it, finally. Ode to the Spark Jar. For the April days where the spring sunshine in my voice needs to take a break, when my mind is finally too tired to race, for the heartbreak, bad news, puffy eyes from crying days, when inspiration doesn't dare to strike, even though sometimes that's when you most need the mic. It's for those lost lines, for those potential works of art whose sparks flitter away into the dark unless you write them down to keep them around for when they're ready. More than half-baked with other lines to keep them steady, for all the ones that would have gotten away, to revisit when I'm ready on a rainy brain day. And that's it. Thank you so much again for listening. I really appreciate all your time and all your sweet comments. And thank you for having me and for hosting. I'm really happy to be here and I can't wait to come to the next one and watch the next great features.
Woo, thank you, River. Everybody go ahead and unmute, give River some love.
Woohoo!
All right. Well, River, I just want to thank you also for saying yes. And I actually discovered both Jordan and River's poetry through the Instagram open mic that happens on Wednesdays. through the Get Loud movement. So follow Get Loud. There's phenomenal poetry happening there. They host open mics as well and workshops. And River, I just appreciate, especially this idea of the spark jar and, just how phenomenally present you are with us and your poetry. Every line was just like hitting. So I really liked how you were even just like, even the line where you said, for those lost lines. I'm just like, yeah, I have so many lost lines. So thank you so much. I am really excited that you all have started us off with our feature set. We have a few more features coming on as well, and then some open mic happening. And so we're just flowing with it. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next feature, who I got to meet through the Community Literature Initiative, and who he came and was a guest lecturer for the class that I was in, cohort season 7, shout out to them. But I'm gonna introduce Charlie, who is a phenomenal poet, and I just love Charlie's poetry and our talks about gardens and nature. So let me go ahead and pull up your bio here. Charlie Becker is a retired special education teacher and speech therapist. He has studied and written poetry with the Community Literature Initiative in Los Angeles, and his first book of poems and drawings, Friends My Poems Gave Me, was published by World Stage Press in 2016. Charlie's poems are typically about the LGBTQ community, coming out, friendships, and the art of nature. He has also been published in the Comstock Review, the Passenger Journal, the Dandelion Review, and Silver Pinion. Charlie lives in Laguna Woods with his partner, Aubrey. So Charlie, welcome to One Mic, One Globe. Thank you for being here.
There's this poem for all of us now. I keep seeing it. It's like it beams in the dark, sparks remarks, parts of speech packed and stacked, vowel to vowel, pleas to howls, chants and rants, proposes, it noses its way across our skin, and then sings, grows wings, flings whole words against the wall until they submit, fit, witness our lives. Round rhymes, lined verse, it has hands, makes plans, stands alone, shown shimmerings of what metaphors can do. We wait for it, shake for it, hate for it to end. There's this poem here, hanging in the air like a scent of holy Roman candles, or an aroma of bones, honed in catacombs for years, composing space, laced ceiling to floor with nouns, knelt in prayer there, kings, long fingers wearing rings, golden things, bringing bejeweled language to our mouths. There's this poem, see, it has eyes and cries for friends who died too young, too soon, before they knew what poets can do. If it took a village to raise us poets, then I say it takes our poems to raise us up, the ones who were oppressed but still spoke the truth, the ones who wrote in secret silent journals or shouted out into empty rooms, the ones who scribbled on sides of buildings or protest signs, never to know their manifesto unfold, the ones shot down by guns or AIDS as they prayed for healing, the ones who were our loves, the ones who hoped to reach landings, turn corners, and find that crystal stair there. There's that poem. So it's so great to be here, it's so great to hear everyone else's voice. During the pandemic, it's been sort of lonely, and I love being encouraged and sort of seduced by other people's words. So I'm so glad to be here. Most of my poems are about friendships and family members. but I do like to write about nature and art, often in the same poem. And I've been a vegetarian for a really, really long time. So this next poem is based on something that is amazingly on the news just last night about cows that were about to be processed for consumption, and the cows broke out of line and ran away. It was wonderful to hear. So this poem is called A Cow's Escape. What makes us so carnivorous, us, dear sacred cow, holy through past lives, Gandhi's poem of mercy, gracious servitude in Bali, you approach thinking and feeling human. How then can this happen? How now, cow, brown, silent, but for your shuffling through dirt, dung, despair, knees and hooves wobbly like the jelly they might become, you feel hate, cursing this building with no heart, continuous grayed windows, sealed eyes, bloodshot ears, yourself a passive offering to someone else's palate at Burger King. You fear being a victim, waiting in line to face a face who might displace your innocence and later serve it up with gravy. Lucky for you, now, cow, your anger gave you rise to visions. Your life grazed before your eyes and you saw greener grass. Then God, then Gauguin in Brittany, his immortal yellow-orange bovine urging you forward to jump out of line and bolt. You ran through doors, jumped fences, crossed city streets, seeing pink and puce farmhouses, vermilion pigs, white and gold dandelions of your future, creating a palette with a taste for your freedom. Escape now, cow, go. Why must all the rainforests fall? High cholesterol appalls us all, us. What makes us so carnivorous, us? It is blindness to the details, shapes or colors, lights and darks, values so paled, so twisted from their original, we can no longer see what was once beautiful. Now, cow, run from the city, the people, their hunger towards mist on a pasture at dawn, the heavy brown eyes of a fellow vegan to whom you can whisper the secrets of a better world. Run towards the paintbrush of a wiser artist who sees you as very much alive, very much in this picture. Thank you. So, like some other readers have said, I have spent my whole life writing coming out poems. I have to say that it's been wonderful having something so powerful that is kind of trapped inside to be able to write about it and share with other people. And I have this project, Trevor Project, that's especially for younger LGBTQ people who are struggling with coming out and self-acceptance. So I've written some poems for and about that project. And this next poem is called For Trevor. Unbow your head, get off your wounds and knees, eyes open. Unborrow time and lift your shoulders back. Unclasp worried fingers, stretch them tall like giant redwoods do. Expose those long lines of your palms to air and loud your voice, strong each word. Inhale what's done about your past, but exhale into the future. The lies you told yourself in childhood, already afraid of what was coming, were never true. You were nothing bad, only good. You were nothing wrong, only right. There was just your nature, there was simply your heart, and the deepest sense of knowing. So tell me now, you're coming out, and I will cry with you for your storied silences, cowerings in corners, and dependence on gray areas. self-denying pleas, forced thank yous, half-lived dreams, and censored visions. You will know a world of possibilities soon. Inclusion, infusion, communion, people who get you and speak your lifestyle. You will feel unalone, refriended, revived, recreated. Unbow your head, get off your knees and wounds, then just move towards traced footsteps of our ancestors, found family elders who can teach you how to recognize and fill custom-fitted ruby slippers with your own purpose and sureness. Thank you. Thanks. So I have one more poem. My partner Aubrey and I collaborate a lot writing poems, and Aubrey is disabled. He is always an inspiration to me. And this next poem is called "They Don't Know I'm Your Boyfriend." I want no more lies, no sabotaging self-talk. I'm too old, and besides, you've taught me how to get black now when pushed too far by prejudice and ignorance. So take, for example, your wheelchair and how we get naked to enjoy the erotic moves of disabled sex, cerebral palsied pleasures, and the success of our bodies sweating youthful yet again. Then afterwards, laughing to ourselves, I push, you roll outside for some cool air and enhanced smell of our night blooming jasmine. Neighbors walking by smile approvingly as they assume I'm your caretaker. But I smile, nod back, and whisper under my breath, no, we're lovers. And in fact, when we're together, he walks on water. Thank you.
Oh, yes. That was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, people are saying
wonderful, Charlie.
Thank you. Thanks. He inspires.
Yes, I appreciate you being here, Charlie, and sharing your powerful work with us. And my apologies too to River. Please let us know, both of you, how we can stay in touch and connect with your work. So Charlie, what's up next for you? How can we connect?
So I'll give my email address, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. So I'll put all that in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much, Charlie. And thank you for just those beautiful visuals and the poetic power that you invite us, especially for, honoring what our young members of the community are dealing with, and supporting the Trevor Project with your poetry. Like that's so important and so beautiful. Thank you so much, Charlie, for being here and gracing us with your poetry. I want to also ask River, can you tell us, sorry, I forgot to ask this, how can we stay in touch with you and any other upcoming projects?
Yeah, no worries. I put it in the chat. So I'm on Instagram at Riverly Poetry. I also have a YouTube channel where I have some of my older videos up there, and I'm branching out into some fun educational content. So you can keep up with me over there.
Thank you, River. And again, thank you, Charlie. And Charlie also has a book. Definitely get that book, because Charlie is not only just a poet, but I believe you're also a visual artist. And another visual artist in our crew tonight is Jordan. I had the pleasure of seeing some of Jordan's paintings on an open mic. So you all are multifaceted artists, and I'm so grateful that you've been able to join us tonight. So we have 2 more features coming up, and I'm super excited to carry on this energy that we've created in this space together. I just wanted to invite us to just take a deep breath as we head into our final 2 features, and then some open mic space. So again, just, close your eyes and, kind of loosen up your body a bit, and just take a nice inhale through your nose. Hold it and smile with yourself, and just exhale through your mouth. All right. And feel free to take more breaths if you need to, especially throughout our set here with our features, or if you hear some lines on the open mic too, that just like take your breath away. So thank you. So thank you, Jordan, River, and Charlie, for getting us going here with these features. I'm going to introduce our next feature, who made an effort to be here with us tonight, and I'm so grateful. I'm going to introduce Pastiche Queen here. Pastiche Queen, they, them, is a slam poet and coach based out of Los Angeles, California. They are currently getting their MFA in theater and can be seen frequenting the Poetry Lounge and Polar Harmony. Let them charm you with sativa and a smile. Let's float, they write. So I'd like to pass the mic to Pastiche Queen. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Hey y'all, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here, truly. My name is Pastiche Queen. You can follow me on Instagram. We're just gonna get straight into it. I have a short story for you. When I was growing up, when I was a little kid, I never ever saw myself represented in any art form ever. So this is for all of those brown, indigenous, non-binary kids who have never had a story told by someone who grew up. Okay. This is called Of Beatnik, of Beast, of Branch. There's a town at the edge of the woods in the mountains. There's a town at the edge of the woods in the mountains, and there's an old library with a belfry. Belfry, a word which here means the part of a tower with a bell, but you already knew that. In the belfry of the old library in the town at the edge of the woods in the mountains, there lived a family of bats. The family of bats hunt in the woods at the edge of the day and the night. Guided by sound and moonlight, they gobble up moths and flying insects. Among the family of bats was Little Bat, who was still too young and too small to leave the belfry. One sunset, Little Bat asked to join the hunt. "Little Bat," said the grown-ups, "you're too small. Your voice cannot be heard." "But you hear me now," protested Little Bat. "Our voices keep us fed," said the grown-ups. "Our voices help us find our way home," said the grown-ups. "You cannot echolocate." Echolocate, a word which here means that bats listen to the echo of their voice to figure out where they are. But you already knew that. Little Bat gave up trying to go out and descended from the belfry into the old library. By the light of the moon, Little Bat made friends among the books. There was Britannica, who taught Little Bat about the world, Shakespeare, who taught Little Bat about the babbling gossip of the wind and the forest, and Oxford English, who taught Little Bat the most important things in the world: words. Little Bat loved the dictionary the best because every word was organized and ready to be defined. Every book ever written in English is just a mixed up dictionary, thought Little Bat as they read. As Little Bat gained more knowledge, confidence grew. "I bet I could hunt on my own," they reasoned. "I read about it. I know how it works." So the next night, after Little Bat knew the family was gone for the hunt, Little Bat left the belfry for the first time. Whoa, 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 whoa! The wind was cold on Little Bat's face. Little Bat squeaked and listened. Nothing. Perhaps further into the woods, Little Bat squeaked again, and nothing. Maybe the good bugs are deeper in the woods, deeper into the dark. Little Bat wasn't so sure where the trees stopped and the forest began, but suddenly the woods were on all sides. Little Bat squeaked to find home, to find food, to find anything. As Little Bat looked up at the moon, echoed through the darkness before Little Bat collided with the tree and fell into a deep, deep sleep. Little Bat awoke with a start. Ow! What happened? Oh, hello. Little Bat was confused. "Okay, well, I don't think I speak beast." And they tried to fly off. "But ow! I must have hurt my wing when I fell. The last thing I heard was you." "Me?" "Yeah, you did that thing with your voice. Ring, that thing, that loud squeak, that like, I can't do it. It's because my voice is too small. Everybody in my family says so." My family. Do you know where the belfry is? Belfry? Yes, the place in the tower where the bell is kept. It goes ding, ring. You can take me home? Little Bat considered this. Wolf must have felt guilty for making Little Bat crash. That made sense. Little Bat carefully climbed onto Wolf's back, and they began the journey home. As Wolf and Little Bat walked in the woods, Little Bat taught Wolf about pronunciation and diction. Wolf had learned to talk from listening to the woods, and the woods had a crippling speech impediment, which is why they're so quiet most of the time. Through consonants and vowels, Little Bat taught Wolf to clarify their speech. The woods listened intently too. As the sun began to set on their day's first journey, Wolf was starting to form more sentences. My name is Wolf, and you are Little Bat. That's perfect, Wolf. You're getting the hang of it. I want to repay you, Little Bat. You already are, Wolf. You're helping me get home. No, I needed to do that. I want to teach you to sing like me, but my voice is too small. For wolves, no voice is too small. To woo? Almost, but make the word longer. Add more ooh to it. Ooh. We'll work on it. For now, let's find a place to rest. Wolf and Little Bat approached a river and lay down beneath an evergreen tree as the setting sun cast long shadows along the mountain. As they gently drifted off to sleep, they both began to dream. For two friends sitting beneath the shade of a tree cannot help but dream. And two friends dreaming cannot help but share them. And two friends sharing a dream cannot help but become a poem, because a poem is where speech and song intersect. Little Bat knew this was a dream, but still felt compelled to speak. The world is a comedy to those who think and a tragedy to those who feel. Pressed for inspiration, I exhumed the remains of a bygone past to ask it for the truth, like trying to remember the language of love, like how your mouth speaks English, but we leave paw prints in Spanish. I read somewhere that peacocks are mean and they're known to bite. I think they're living proof that beautiful things can hurt you. Wolf knew this was a dream, but still felt compelled to speak. I know there's someone who will excavate my ruins, brush the ashes from buried evergreens in the pulmonary volcano catastrophe that is my heart. Someone to trace the constellations of scars and stories I call fur to craft our own shared mythology. Someone to help me find the clarity to see the comedy tucked inside of my tragedies. And I will feel in spite of the fact that I think, because I now know that beauty is worth the risk. I speak and they listen as if they never heard. Little Bat and Wolf woke up with the morning sun warm on their faces. As they looked around them, they saw a gathering of animals around them. A tiny field mouse approached them. We all shared the same dreams with you last night, and we want to tell you our stories. Little Bat and Wolf looked at each other. Little Bat said, why us? We're just travelers. A raccoon came forward and told them, the woods told us about you already. You're the bat poet and the song wolf. Humans are building a dam. The river weeps. All of us are worried. If you could tell our stories to the other animals on your journey home, maybe it would help us keep our home. Little Bat and Wolf nodded. Little Bat knew firsthand how scary humans could be. We will collect your stories, said Little Bat. And so they began beneath the evergreen by the river and listened to all of the animals of the woods share their stories, their dreams, their histories. Even the woods shared a story or two. And again, they drifted together beneath the shade of a tree into a sleep with all of the animals of the woods. Roughly 90% of people struck by lightning survive. Electrical discharge leaves marks like tree branches on their bodies. So what can I do with the sequoia left on my spine when I saw you? I don't know. But I do know that everyone's experience is worth something because it's the truth. And I will never let a rift form between me and myself. I refuse to let a schism form from cynicism and let it affect my lyricism. So we'll diffract the hurt through a writer's prism and let the pressure in our hearts turn feelings into diamonds on our tongues. See, I used to think love was what happened when you shared a room long enough to feel sad together. Now, I think it's walking along a forest path, gossiping with the wind, and sharing the shade of an evergreen tree, because self-discovery begets recovery, because you deserve love, because you deserve love. Little Bat felt something deep in their chest. It welled up from within, traveled up towards the sky, and then Little Bat had finally found their voice. Wolf joined in, and again, Suddenly, lightning struck the evergreen and the forest quickly became engulfed in flames. The animals scattered back to their homes to gather their families. Little Bat and Wolf ran towards the path. With everything burning, Wolf couldn't smell the town, but Little Bat heard something familiar. The belfry! Of course, the humans were ringing the bells because they're afraid of fire too. Wolf and Little Bat began running towards the sound of the belfry of the old library in the town at the edge of the woods and the mountains. As they approached the town, Little Bat could see humans running towards the woods with buckets of water. One of the humans screamed when he saw Wolf and Little Bat coming down the path. Wolf, he yelled. Wolf stopped suddenly. Little Bat, they said, the humans will not let me go into town. I cannot take you all the way home. I have to leave you here. Little Bat began to protest, but no, I promised you I would get you home safely. You are not safe with me if humans are here. They fear me. Please go be with your family. But you're my family. Someday when you're out on the hunt, listen for me. And Wolf plucked Little Bat out of their fur, set Little Bat on the path towards the town, and sprinted away. As the humans rushed by with their water, none of them paid any attention to Little Bat making their way home. The entire Bat family was there in the library, and they all greeted Bat with tears of joy. We were so scared. We didn't know what to think. Oh my God, you're away. How did you find your way home? Oh, sang Little Bat, and the room fell silent. I collected the stories of the woods, of the trees and the rivers and the ones who live in the forest. A pause hung heavy over the crowd. Then, quietly, a voice. Tell us more. More bats nodded in agreement. Tell us about the woods. Tell us their stories. And so Little Bat told the entire family about the journey, about the beast, about the dreams. The town on the edge of the woods and the mountains just became a town in the mountains that day. The forest turned to ashes overnight. But there are flowers that only bloom in ashes, and fire is a healthy part of a forest's life cycle. Tired from the stories, Little Bat hung upside down to sleep and dreamt without Wolf for the first time. And what does a poet do when they've lost a friend? You put your claw in my fur and wrote, I love you in Braille on my wings. But I can't read backwards, and the only thing I can't see is you. The smells are all different, but the smoke is still the same. Whether it's the smoke or the stress is anybody's guess, but my eyes are red now. Whether it's you or me is anybody's guess, but my eyes are red now. Whether it's the tears or the THC is anybody's guess, but my eyes are red now because you smell like everything green. Like pine needles, like envy, like the belfry after a storm. I read somewhere that we spend our entire lives rewriting the first poem we ever loved. They say that Rocky Mountain air makes blood thinner and hearts stronger. Oxygen deprived, Colorado love breathes twice as deep, so inhale me. You northwest breeze, you midnight song, you dream companion. There are wolves that dwell here, silent and observant. The lonely ones make clouds when they sing at night. Maybe that's why there's always so much fog in the mornings. All I feel now is longing for a duet. All I see now is the U-shaped body dent in my heart, as haunted as I am ghosted. The love we shared was epiphenomenal, the way a properly carried love should be. I treasure that love on my shelf now, and I know somewhere out there, you do too. Little Bat was now the keeper of the stories of the woods that used to be. And every night you knew Little Bat was on the hunt because among the squeaks, you could always hear a longer woo. And up there in the sky, filled with song, if Little Bat listened hard enough, Wolf was singing too.
Ooh, go ahead and unmute. I don't know if
Can we just end there?
Oh,
that was so good.
I mean, I don't know if there's a dry eye here. Pastiche, that was so beautiful. Pastiche Queen, everybody. Wow. Thank you for this story that you shared with us. It makes me want to howl with you all with this big moon. Holy cow. Woo! Yes. Pastiche Queen, everybody, if do you have anything else you'd like to share, Pastiche, about what's coming up for you, or how we can connect with you and keep following your work?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for the love. Yeah, my name is Pastiche Queen. You can follow me on Instagram. I am a writing coach. I'm a slam coach. I'm a performance coach. I'm a vocal coach. I teach vocal stuff all the way from opera and musical theater all the way to performance poetry. I specialize in vocal technique. So if you want to connect with your breath and your body and get the earth breathing with you, we'll do that, I promise. My approach is a lot less California woo-woo and a lot more indigenous Latino brujeria, but either way, we're gonna get you breathing, and that's the important thing. So if you wanna connect with me for any reason, I do writing workshops. That story is actually written with a formula that I use as a writer that I teach in my writer boot camp. So if you want to do a writing boot camp with me over the summer, let me know and I got you. I give discounts to Black and Indigenous writers and to trans writers. So if you are any of those things or all of those things, let's connect and let's give each other some platforms. Also, every Wednesday, I run the Get Loud open mic, which specifically centers Black, trans, Indigenous voices on a queer platform. So thank you all so much. I am so honored and humbled to be here. Thank you for your time. Thank you all for your talent tonight. Besos, besos.
Thank you so much, Pastiche Queen, and thank you for the work you're doing. And I'm not sure if you were on, but I did a shout out to Get Loud Movement. That's how I discovered Jordan and River, their poetry. So it's a phenomenal open mic on Wednesdays. Check it out on Instagram. Thank you for everything you're doing. So yes, woo, everybody. Well, I'm going to introduce our final feature of the night. This has just been so magical. And from our beginner open mic crew to these phenomenal features, I'm really honored to be in this space with you all. And I'm looking forward to introducing our final feature and then, swimming in this open mic with you. So let me bring up this, our next feature's bio. And I'm so sorry, I didn't have it ready, but here we go. Ooh, yeah. I'm excited to bring up Elvia Susana Rubalcava. Elvia is a Chicana creative nonfiction writer, poet, playwright, director, producer, filmmaker, and teaching artist from Santa Ana, California. Elvia's poetry has been published in Mujeres de Maíz, Floricanto, Seeds of Resistance, Floricanto, Sunday Jump, and Los Angeles Poets Society Press. Her short story, Palomas, was published last fall in the anthology Our Stories, a collection of personal narratives. Elvia is currently working on a collection of poetry called Writings Beneath My Tongue and teaching a series of creative writing workshops, series called Rio de mi Vida, Writing Our Stories. For more, you can check out her website, which we can put in the chat. So I'd like to pass the mic to Elvia. Welcome.
Thank you. I needed a minute to just such inspiring featured writers and open mic writers already. Thank you so much for this platform, Alex, and to Los Angeles Poets Society.
Thank you.
All right. I am from Santa Ana, but I'm in my family's homeland of El Paso, Texas. Land of the Piro and Tigua people. And so I'm gonna start off with the poem dedicated to our ancestors and elders. Ancestors, elders. When William spoke of ancestors, I pictured pyramids and huts, men in feathers and women gathering hunched over with babes, suckling a yerba or thumb. When Celia spoke of elders, I thought of imaginary Aztec grandmothers I speak to at night. But when they continued speaking of them in the present tense, and as early as yesterday, they started coming into focus. Ama's garlic tea could be smelled from my journals. Aba's 2 teaspoons of high-octane cayenne pepper in very hot water that can cure cancer and what ails you was spicy in my mouth. Her arthritic hands that bless me goodbye and the diabetic belly that shakes when I crack a joke appeared within the ceremonial fire. And I realized after the 4th person in our circle shared, they no longer have either or both. I wanted to run back to my viejitos, back to my elders, back to my ancestors, to the 2 aging bodies that I can still feel, hear their stories, and sip their curandera healer ways. Thank you. I'm a total Chicana Chillona, so I'm sharing a couple of new poems that are close to my heart. So should I shed a tear? I'll push through. All right. Yes, but tamarindo candy, balled up joy, full of meaty dark brown seeds to play with in my mouth and free them from their spicy lined cocoon sack. Tart, sweet swirls on top of swirls frozen yogurt, jammed into large pink paper tub filled with cubed fruit, nuts, and if I'm lucky, sprinkles of tajin. Tajin, saturated salty spice that covers mountains of papaya, piña, slivers of coconut, watermelon, jicama, cucumber, or a combo of fruit ready for hard crunch of brown girl bites. Cheeseburgers with added ketchup and yellow chilies for a kick. Pipe too cute for words, cupcakes, donuts, cookies, cakes, pies, pan dulce, oh, vanilla puffy white conchitas, dipped in low-fat ice cold milk, or warm instant coffee after bowls of menudo on a Sunday morning, where already warm bolillos were torn savagely to soup up the thick stew. Yes, but do you love them more than your right toe? That's part of a series of poems about my battle with diabetes. And that was written like at 3 a.m. when poets typically write, right? A few more. Okay. This is 90063. The mural of my LA still has you in it. The 4-mile walk down Whittier Boulevard, past Calvary Cemetery that safe keeps your beloved abuelita, whom you greet with the quick sign of the cross and whisper to each morning and night on your heavy-footed path through the river of people flowing by the boulevard's little shops filled with knickknacks and street tacos, to all the other East LA walkers that trail behind you or whisk by with a quick nod. Your soul spoke to me 16 years ago when we met in my casita in Santana, as it does now from afar, walking through our shared memories of 2 lovers in their Los Angeles. And that was written in a workshop, and we're talking about workshops at, I think, a Latina women's writing conference. So, and this one is called, What Do You Do With Your Last $40? What do you do with your last $40? You count with your fingers what you can afford at the quick grocery store run. You strategize how a handful of items can make multiple meals for multiple people in your household, and hopefully leftovers too. What do you do with your last $40? When one of your last paychecks you'll receive from your employer, who just laid you off after 18 years of public service, isn't coming this week. The next one is a week away. Your last one is 2 weeks after that. You worry, when is the right time to apply for unemployment? How long will you have to wait for your first check? Will you get extra because of COVID? Or is there even any money left? What do you do with your last $40? You hurriedly look for the Michaels receipt for the art supplies that you stupidly bought, thinking that this stress reliever would be cheap, but art will have to wait. Painting will have to wait. The new colors you bought hoping to experiment with will have to wait. What do you do with your last $40? You leave $14 on your credit card, just in case your husband needs to buy gas to get home, or a side of beans for the cheap meal you are trying to make for dinner. You leave him $6.89. What do you do with your last $40 till payday? Will there be other paydays? Will there be other employers? Will there be other coworkers? Will there be other paper pushing supervisors who offer no support. What will you do with their last $40? You get your eyebrows done because you've been feeling pretty shitty and you just want some part of you to look normal, put together, look right. You pay $9 for the service and tip $5 because they just reopened their doors last week after being closed for months, and she has to eat too. With the last $9 in cash, you buy exactly 3.105 gallons of gas. You drove a little further to get the cheap gas, the $2.89 per gallon gas, wishing you were still paying the $1.69 per gallon you did when you were in El Paso mourning your father last month. What do you do with your last $40? You write a poem. I'm all snappy myself. I have two more. Okay. And this is also a new one that I'm developing. I still need to workshop it, but I shared it a couple of Sundays ago, but I worked on it a little bit more. If only, for Abba. If only I could hold you in a poem, like I did when we danced to Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World on my wedding day, with just a few of us that stayed witnessing this miracle, our estranged father dancing with his daughters. If only I could hold you in a play and try to hear your tone, laugh, bits of advice you shared across the room, a 2-minute voicemail or a quick email forwarding a prayer, a hello, through an actor as they try to portray you on stage. If only I can hold on to you in a short story, crushed by family members on Northeast Side Avenue in the dry desert heat of El Paso on our annual trips, in the buttery hands of Sunday family movie nights filled with popcorn and film analysis, pictures of travels and holidays, and mementos that only mean something to the hoarders like us that sacredly keep them. If only I could hold on to you like I do in poems, plays, and short stories. Hang there in your arms, holding on to your tall, wide, slightly hunched back, covering me like a San Marcos blanket as we swayed to trees of green and red roses too on Cinco de Mayo, 2007. If only I could still be holding your left pale, frankled hand as you laid dying in Texas, late August 2019, as I try to pull you back from going. Now only my chubby hands claw for you through my words as I sift through these memories, creating new poems, plays, short stories for you, for me. If only I could hold you, Abba. I'm very proud I didn't start bawling. I'll save that for later. And this last piece, I want to dedicate to Alex and Los Angeles Poet Society and all the poets that are here tonight, and us connecting and just really holding on to each other, especially through COVID and a pandemic. Poetry. I reached out for poetry when I came home feeling defeated after a long day at work. I popped open YouTube and fell into Mujeres de Maíz's Wise Words Wednesday. Uri Lara's second poem moved me along and lifted me as she described her COVID-filled days as a mother and teacher. I reached out for poetry on a Friday night when I found myself landing on my bed again with nowhere to go, nothing to do, but floating around on top of my Instagram feed was Los Angeles Poet Society's After Open Mic Night. And I was pulled in by the diverse poets that dropped their frustrations, their hurt, anger, and disappointments on yet another death of yet another Black man by the hands of our white supremacist sick society. Their words stung, especially when a young soldier, Paige writes, broke down in spoken word her fears about her 7 Black brothers. We all found each other, our presence touching virtually, but the poets touched all parts of me. Even the left side of my fatty lonja cried and cheered with the body positivity poetry that rang out by the chubby brown poet with matching nerdy glasses. My body held me together as my voice shook as I shared my poem about facing my father's death in the New York City streets. It kept shaking as I recited it into my podcast later that late night, a new sanctuary for my words, for me. I reached out for poetry when I cracked open my friend Natalia Valle's new book, and I devoured half of it at 3 a.m, where nothing and no one could cradle my worries away, but her words at that moment. I reached out at monthly open mic nights at FMC. I reach out to las escritoras de LA Writing Circle who caress and cut each new poem I bring for edits. I reach out at used bookstores in every city I visit. I run to poetry arms out each Thursday night, huddled over Zoom with my Chicanas, Cholas, y Chisme Chingonas. We connect together again, alone in our homes, or whatever part of the world that is holding us, Saturday mornings for CCC Writes. And we write and write and write, and I write because it grounds me, because it saves me, because a word stuck in the middle of my wrist, underneath my tongue, banging against my head, only knows one way to express themselves fully and to escape: poetry. Because the words I read, write, hear, speak, feel are my medicine. Poetry is my medicine. Poetry is medicine. Poetry.
Ooh, yes. Elvia, thank you so much. Let's unmute, celebrate.
Thank you so much for this space. I'll snap myself now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. There is nothing wrong with snapping for yourself. We should all feel ourselves, right? Elvia, what can we do to stay connected with you, and what else do you have coming up? I know you're a busy person.
Yeah, thank you. I am part of another feature with Museo this Sunday from 1 to 2 o'clock. You can follow me at Chicana Chingona. I'll put it in the chat. And I have a flyer up about it. They're also featuring 4 other writers. So you're free on a Sunday afternoon, check it out. I also teach creative writing classes. There's 2 coming up. One is for adults or 18 and over. And Breath of Fire Latina Theater Ensemble is sponsoring it. They're Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night in July from 7 to 9 p.m. And you can also, I have the link on my Instagram and Facebook pages. And then I'll be teaching another class. This is for youth ages 13 to 21, also free. It's virtual, both are virtual. And that one starts the last week in July, I believe the 26th. It's a week long, and then it ends on a Saturday with a showcase. So if you know young writers, please send them. They get a free book of and writing materials, and then we do an in-person field trip. It is based in Santa Ana, but we welcome writers from everywhere. So, and you can follow me at my website at elviasusana.com.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the free workshops that you're offering. That is so helpful for folks to keep creative and like building, like we've talked about seedlings, turning everything that they have in their creative bodies into super blooms. I really appreciate the work you're doing with the community and these phenomenal features. I just want to thank you all. Tonight was super special. Jordan, River, Charlie, Pastiche Queen, and Elvia, thank you so much for saying yes. Literally this month has been kind of a whirlwind, and I asked them like last week and they all said yes. So I want to honor that, like the short notice and folks just like being ready to come together and just be in space together. I know things are opening up, but like to even just have something virtual for folks who, that's the best way for them to engage, but also just to keep poetry going. I want to thank you all tonight. And I heard a lot of themes, or the themes about like just blooming from fire, and just togetherness and staying resilient despite what the world tells you and how the world wants you to be, like still owning your own journey and like really just being raw with your truth and vulnerable. It takes a lot of courage to do that. And so I just want to thank you all for sharing your bravery with us tonight. And that always empowers the open mic as well. And I'm going to open it up now to open mic for the rest of the night. Please make sure though, if you have shared or if you are just wanting to be present, that you do put your contact in the chat. I think it's important that we stay connected after tonight. This whole scene right here is just a space for connection. That was the whole intention with this mic. at the start of pandemic. And I just want to thank LA Poets Society for allowing me this opportunity to be the host since Earth Day of last year, when pandemic was going full force. We all ached for poetry and we made it happen. And so, you know, poems about right, or like how poetry has been a medicine. I mean, that is truth for sure. And I've gotten to meet a lot of people along the way that I never knew I could connect with without these virtual platforms. So I appreciate you all. I'd like to open up for the open mic. And please, if you'd like to share the mic, please type in moon or Luna, or the icon of a moon, and I'll start getting that open mic list going. And I think I heard Brenda wanting to share at some point, but I'm not sure who else has signed up. So it might be lost in the chat. So please go ahead and put your info in there. And Brenda, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I did see you sign up later, earlier on the list. Trying to get my pen. So Brenda, are you okay to share first? And then I have here, let's see, we have Max Lion and then Mr. Tezosamok. And then again, put Luna or moon icons in the chat, and I'll add you onto the list. So we'll go ahead with Brenda, then Max Lion, and then Mr. Tezosamok.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex. You're always so gracious and amazing when you're hosting anything. And yeah, poetry is medicine. So I definitely feel nurtured tonight. Thank you to all the features. Like Gato, I'm also pitching to publishers on Saturday. I've got a manuscript. So yeah, send me some good vibes, prayers, hearts. I can use it. I'm not going to share what I'm going to pitch then, although maybe this one will make the cut after all. I'm not sure. We'll see. This one's called Spirit Guides. My friend Xochitl and I have always talked about things of the spirit. As young mujeres, we'd be cracking codes for play, smoking a bong in her closet. This had become our ritual, invoking the womb of our mothers, hotbox simulating a lodge in the desert, and discovered you can start a fire using water. We dove down deep into childhood reverie. Xochitl taught me how to get down to Tonantzin. Without a loving, trusted beloved, we can't go see what is unseen. Then came our trips to the beach, where we learned to find spirit in the sky circling above, immediately called them spirit guides. It felt right, and it was holy from day to night. Lord, 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 what are these sights I behold? Facing east, south, west, and north, I reconnect with my grandmothers, the ones I never knew in this life, when Xochitl calls the corners. A door was opened, and eye to eye, a jungle was I. I felt the great I am running through these veins. I am of the earth, and I am of the sky. Oh my, how many times did I die? How many times did spirit bring me, breathe me, stretch me, pull me, free me back to life? My, oh my, these feet can touch the sky. Thank you so much. And saludos from Shorty and Valentina, barking at the jungle part.
Yeah,
I heard the jungle, man.
The wild.
The moon. Love it. Thank you. Love you guys.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And you know, you already know your pitch. You and Caro, you've been working on these books and all our other community literature family. Yes, you guys got this, and it's going to be beautiful. And yes, I appreciate you for sharing that poem tonight. You know, I would highly consider it for your pitch too. It's a great poem. But I'm going to go ahead and bring up another poet, Max Lion, to the mic. Welcome, Max. Thank you, Brenda.
Oh, hold on, the lighting is terrible in here. Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
I'm Max. They, them. I'm in LA for now. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm gonna still be in the area, but it's just like, I don't know where I'm gonna live right now. But anyways, yeah, from Long Beach. So so still sort of the area. Yeah, I'm just starting to get back into writing. I used to write a lot, like more in high school. I'm like 22 now. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just trying to get back into writing and really just trying to like, you know, put myself out there with my writing because I never did that before, and I think it'll really help. Yeah. So very trans poems tonight. I'll just like 3 short ones. So yeah, this one's more directed at my parents and I guess every transphobe out there. Am I a girl? Am I a guy? I don't really know why you need to know why. You always want me to die. You always want me to die. So there's no reason why. Stop trying to be sly. You always want me to die. You think there's no reason why. You look up at the sky, begging, praying, crying, moaning, groaning. Why? 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 You don't need to know why. You just want me to die. So yeah, so my parents mostly. Okay. And then this one's about gender dysphoria as a child, very obvious gender dysphoria thing. When we were kids, many of us have imaginary friends, as well as imaginary monsters. I had many. The scariest, most real one was the one called She. She would follow me no matter where I was. I was afraid she would come and get me. She was a mysterious hooded figure whose face I have never seen or ever been able to conceptualize. She would appear outside my parents' house, looming. I would hide under my covers. As a child, I tended to carry a blanket with me throughout the house so I could hide without a moment's notice when she came around. Where was I? I never knew where she was. I just knew she was around. She was close. She was right behind me. She was always about to strike in my mind. All I could do was hide under the covers, no matter where I was in that filthy house. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, this one's bottom dysphoria. So like, if that is like, it's funny, but if it does make you dysphoric, I don't take it personally if you have to go away. But it's funny. All right. Give me my massive schlong. Give me my throbbing cock. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. At the same time, let me keep my fucking cunt, please. I am multiple and refuse to sacrifice myself simply because cis people don't find my bodies like mine worth investing in. Unless it's some fucked up hentai fetish porn where they get to abuse and use me, take control of my sacred trans body, they will never have it. It's mine. So is my future throbbing cock and fuckhole. I demand a future where bodies like mine are accommodated for. Where was I? I demand that we all step up and scream, yell, hold each other close while we demand that our bodies are cared for, that our bodies are more than, wait, what did I write here? Sorry about that. More than just, investments and fetishes. That our bodies deserve love and acceptance no matter what state they're in. Our bodies are beautiful and strong. Our bodies are worth fighting for. There, I wrote that one not that long ago. Yeah, it took a while to realize that one. Yeah, that's all I had to share tonight. So yeah, thanks so much. I look forward to anybody else that has anything to say. Bye.
Thank you so much, Max Lyon. I appreciate you being so authentic with your poetry and sharing your journey and your story with us. And yeah, like we should fight for trans lives. And I appreciate your poetry tonight. And I hope we can hear more from you. Please let us know how we can follow you. And I think you might have done that in the chat. So thank you so much for being here and sharing. I'd like to go ahead and welcome our next open mic share, Mr. Tezosamok. I'll bring you up, and then anyone else want to share, type moon in the chat, and I'm sorry if you did already, I'll try to catch it. Yeah, Mr. Tezosamok.
Hi, good to be here. Good to hear
welcome.
Everybody. I have a piece titled A Canticle for the Land. To minimize suffering and to maximize security were natural and proper ends of society and Caesar, but then they became the only ends, somehow and only the basis of law, a perversion. Inevitably, then, in seeking only them, we found only their opposites, maximum suffering and minimum security. Walter M. Miller, Jr., A Canticle for Liverwoods. At 8,000 feet above sea level, we have a very short summer, but really, I've never seen the sea. Me lo han contado would be the expression my uncle would use. After the plaguish simplification, we ended up in what they call bioregional ranchos, watersheds, arboreal commons, and terraced communal plots with zero gravity water supplies. My uncle says the old ones talk about the plagues that the world had experienced, but I don't know if I believe it all. It's mid-April and we have been cleaning the ditch, and he lances the shovel, making a slouching sound against the mudded rock wall. And he says, the viejitos say that long ago in the deserts, the Arabs, long before the Romans, invented the Khanat, an ancient water democracy. I look at him wanting to say, y ahorita me vale. As the sweat runs down the brim of my hat, it was like un chingo de years, like 5,000. Ya no sabemos cuántos. He looked at me wanting to see the pressure of history, but right now the blisters on my hands were starting to bubble up. The tropo simplification had come 100 years after the failure of the essentialist democracy. After that, many don't talk about it. The Bitcoin hackers crumpled what the viejitos call the sparky wires. There was no more chapopote to make the engines run. The cities imploded from their own weight and the mayhem of the people and the variant plagues. We were farmers. My uncles and extended family ended up in the high altitude bioregional ranchos that were blockaded by natural barriers and constantly monitored from outsiders. We're especially not happy with the trompo proselytizers wanting to come into the community jabbering about their golfing god and sell us on trading with the gabachos, but we can't expose the community to unknown variant plagues. These days, in the time of the great simplification, we have to work together in mutual aid and reciprocation. In May, the three sisters have been planning. Everybody, even the viejitos, have to work hard to grow as much food in less than 100 days under the high intensity UV light of the sun. We have to collect as much firewood and help the viejitos with theirs. We have to juggle our schedules around the acequia mayordomo. Cuando se le da su pinche gana, my uncle says, esa gente tiene poca palabra y su mundo es muy chico. He looks towards the east, letting the afternoon wind hit his back. What he really is saying is that little men with little palabras end up becoming the acequia mayordomos, controlling the little tiny circuits of power, the power of who gets the water, at what time you get it, and for how long you get it. They want to let you know they're doing you a favor y que les debes. My uncle continues to begrudge the acequiero. Se inflan como sapos y envenenan el aire con su importancia. I couldn't hold it in. I just broke out laughing. As the water reached our property's head gate, he shoveled it into the high row. As the snowpack melted water hits the cracked, clotted soil, you can hear the canticle for the land, as if the earth was breathing in the water in slow motion. I saw the acequiero and his white donkey with the palas and the llaves in the direction of the acequia. You're making me laugh, tío. I said, doesn't he know que es metiche? I said. My uncle continues to look in the direction of the east, as if trying to find the melody of the canticle in the afternoon sweet scented wind. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Tasosamok. Previous feature with our mic. I appreciate you returning every month and sharing your stories with us. You know, this has been a really beautiful mic tonight, and we can still keep going. If you want to share some more, put Moon in the chat, and I'll bring you on. I don't think I have any other people coming up. Oh, okay. I think Lady Rose wants to share another poem. I'm open to people coming up for a second round. There is so much poetry we can sing tonight with this moon. This is our howl. You know, like Pastiche Queen was talking about in their poem, you know, we're collecting our stories and we're sharing our poetry and howling. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Lady Rose, and then it looks like Max Lion, and then anyone else want to share, go ahead and put Moon in there. So go ahead, Lady Rose. Welcome back to the mic.
Hey, so it's funny, I'm looking at this poem and I'm realizing that I think I wrote it around the same time as the first one. There's some similar language and themes, but this was also a workshop poem. You know, it's funny, for the first time, even though I've been like publicly performing since 2008, this really for the first time consistently during the pandemic is when I started really taking workshops. So I have a lot of work in the workshops. So and this one wanted us to focus on the five senses, one of the five senses, and I chose sight. And I also was inspired by the uprisings and the issues of police brutality and white vigilantism that's going on lately. And another influence is, if you don't know who Toby Nwigwe is, like, he is a hip hop artist. That's like, I'm so in love right now. The wordplay and the metaphor, just the whole thing is just like really been inspiring me. And so this poem was inspired by all of that. And it's called Relief, a Sanctuary. I need to see your face, your smile, your eyes, the rose in your cheeks, how you look away and squirm when I've activated that soft part of you. I can't wait to see you walk through the door and your chest, shoulders, and jaw relax in the comfort of your home, approaching to embrace and take in my safety. You looking into and seeing me, your peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Rose. That was so beautiful. And thank you for sharing two pieces with us tonight. Yes, that opening line, activating the soft part of you. Apologies, there's some fireworks going on over here, and so my dogs are a little bit activated right now. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic to Max Lion and mute myself, apologies.
Hello, these ones are really short, so it won't take that long. Okay, hope you can't hear that. There's like the neighbor kids always being loud. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't mind it, it's just like, anyways, okay. You mostly see shadows of yourself than your reflection. If I find myself staring in that black void, dissociating, I guess the same can happen with my reflection. But at the same time, when I see my shadow, I don't scream because it's less of a stranger than what's flipped on the mirror staring back at me. Yeah, That was inspired from something when I was a kid where I would go to Disneyland a lot because my mom would use me to get Disney limited edition Disney pins. So there's some interesting context. It was interesting. She used me to sell pins. It kind of feels like child labor in a way, but she would literally take me out of school for this. And then the other one's just really short. Oh God, sweet lavender. Oh God, sweet lavender. Do you even exist? Nowhere feels right. Nowhere feels safe. There's always a punch right in my face, no matter where I go. It's always cold as snow, no matter where I go. I can never go with the flow. That's it. That's all I have. Like I said, I've just been getting back into writing, so I don't have that much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your poetry tonight. I'm glad you're getting back into it, and I just can't wait to hear more from you, Max. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Kundan. Welcome back to the mic, Kundan.
Hello. This is a new piece that I wrote that's inspired by a fascinating video on nature, biophysics and biochemistry. And then I can explain what inspired this because it's really amazing. It's called olive wings, and olive wings are a species of butterflies. And it's in two parts because it's from two different points of view. So Olive Wings by Kundan Chhabra. Part 1, Nature. What if all I ever saw was red, orange, green, and yellow? I was always laying low. Anything else was beyond my range. So nothing else was seen. Then one day in the distance, a hint of something magical. I saw the color of sky as I gained the ability to fly higher. I wanted to paint my body with it, but I didn't know how to make any. I cried at first, my head hung. Then I noticed how my colors changed a bit when my wings moved in certain ways, even without any pigment. Aha! Over time, with my fellow beings and community, we learned how to make our wings shine that magical light without any of our own biochemicals, none of our own paint nor pigment. Yay! After centuries, my heirs who were flying in the air learned how to make their own pigment. The humans called them olive wings, but they were still, oh, so rare. Part 2, the humans. Everywhere, all I see are binaries of white and non-white. I was looking for my own olive wings in my lovers, but I could not find any. Then one day, I let go of my search, my addiction to my own obsessive, possessive fantasies, and just loved the community itself, focused on building gatherings of fire, freedom, and justice. In a world full of caterpillars, olive wings were even more rare than regular butterflies. I was so scared of loss, of always rebuilding, but the more I focused on my visions of a just, joyful world, eventually the entire community became olive wings, shining that, oh, so magical light.
Thank you so much, Kundan. I really love your stories and how you share your poetry, but you invite movement. You invite us to move with you, move with every line. So thank you so much, Kundan.
That's inspired by this amazing video I watched on the color blue. And that's why I deliberately didn't even mention the color blue because I wanted it to be more mysterious. But apparently the pigment for the color blue is actually very rare in nature. So most blue that you see in butterflies and birds are made with no pigment for blue. Instead, nature found a clever solution. So those wings are actually transparent with multiple layers, and it uses light refraction to absorb all light except blue, and only blue light is allowed to escape from the wings. And that's how you see the color blue without any pigment whatsoever. So nature like discovered an engineering solution to a biochemistry problem using biophysics, which is just amazing. However, after like thousands of years, there is now a very rare species of butterflies which does produce the actual pigment for blue, and they're called olive wings. That's what they're survived by.
Wow, I'm learning so much about butterflies. That's so beautiful. And I think what I really appreciate about your poetry too is that there's so much research that goes behind a lot of your poems. And so every line is really just like thick with information too, and really luscious. So thank you so much, Kundan, for sharing that, those fun facts, but also how your poetry stems from those facts. So thank you.
Welcome.
Well, I'd like to see if anyone else would like to share, let me know. Otherwise, I was going to close it up with an announcement. This has, so if you want to share, just kind of chime in. One Mic, One Globe has been a beautiful experience for me, and this is actually going to be the last time that I'm hosting it. It will still carry on. Los Angeles Poets Society will be looking for a new host. And I just want to say thank you for the folks who featured tonight, Jordan, River, Charlie, Pastiche Queen, and Elvia, for making this like one of the most powerful mics. I mean, they're all powerful and beautiful every month with the different energy that comes through. But I just wanted to thank Los Angeles Poets Society as well for the opportunity to host a mic and to keep people sharing stories and poetry throughout pandemic. I've been navigating a lot of different things and being pulled in many different commitments. So at this time, it's time for me to kind of shift gears a bit and pass this beautiful torch over to someone else. We have a lot of people in the Los Angeles Poets Society community who come together in many different ways. And, if you are considering hosting a mic or wanting to run a workshop, Jessica and I spoke today about this shift and talked about all the ways that this could grow with a new host. And so if you're interested or have ideas too that you want to collab with, let me know, let Los Angeles Poets Society know. This has been really a hard decision for me to make because I love coming together and look forward to this every month. And I'm just so grateful for all the different voices that have come to the table. It's really been a dream of mine. And yeah, I'm beaming with gratitude. And the beautiful stories tonight, the voices that we heard tonight, I want to hear more from you, and I want to stay connected with you. And I will still be involved with Los Angeles Poets Society for sure. I host the Meditation Mondays, which is the first Monday of the month. I'm still going to keep that going, so we can still write together and breathe together and dream together. But I'm really looking forward to how this mic gets to grow with a new host and a new curator. And like we've talked about, we plant seeds and things just bloom and take off. So thank you all for holding space for my words, holding space for this mic. I want to honor that I did see one more Luna in there. So I'm going to bring up Edgar, and I hope he's not feeling pressured because I messaged him to say, hey, you want to share a poem? So Edgar, I'm going to pass the mic to you if you want to go ahead and share.
Okay, I'll share something from a long time ago, but sad to see you leave, Alex. So I know we'll still see each other and keep in touch virtually or hopefully in person when we start doing in-person events. So this is from over a year ago. One time that I wrote, it just came to me when I was riding the bus, because for over 2.5 years, I was just taking public transportation over here in the Inland Empire, and it's not very as good as LA, to say the least. But let's see, it's called Hopeless Romantic. I said, a hopeless dream called romance. Love is gone from my soul, pain in my heart, no more. For a long time abandoned, disappointed by my dearest. Yet it is all this tumultuous emotions. Romance still lingers. A thought and feeling, a reminder of part of me. A hopeless dream of romance. In all this, even the most beautiful moments have been crude and stormy. A hopeless emotion. Love has become long gone. No regrets, scars and calluses. Harder to reach, but upon contact, it aches in hopeless romance.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Edgar has been a regular here with a lot of Los Angeles Poet Society events. So you all stay connected with Edgar, and you know, I don't know, the things that come through with Los Angeles Poet Society have just been so beautiful, and it really is all focused on community and sharing. And I wanted to close with a poem that I actually, because folks were talking about super blooms and just like really honoring who we are as ourselves through poetry, and also because this was in the Los Angeles Poet Society Press Acid Verse, which I know Elvia is in here too. And I apologize if other folks are in here too that I wasn't aware of. Oh, we got one more person tuning in here. But I was going to go ahead and share this poem. And I know Felicia just joined us, who is a former feature of this mic. Hi, Felicia. I know you're getting tuned in. We are kind of wrapping things up, but if you want to share a poem, by all means, I will pass this mic to you. You let me know. And I'm not going to say anything, but Andy, if you're here too and you want to share, wink, wink. It's just beautiful how folks keep coming back and just keeping this community going. And so I want to celebrate my LGBTQ plus family out there for, you know, celebrating this month, but every day should be Pride, every day, every month. So this is called Wild Love Beast. I'm queer like the sun kissing every cheek, and the moon holding sacred all howls. I'm queer like the ocean splashing waves without fear, and the rivers flow inviting acceptance. I'm queer like the raven soaring in winds of honest breath, and the hummingbird shimmering joy wherever it goes. I'm queer like the super bloom of courage climbing up mountainsides, and the winged friends with critter friends, with rooted friends, all rejoicing in harmonious sway. I'm queer like the tender tree welcoming all life home, rubbing grizzly backs, cradling sparrow eggs, giggling with frisky squirrels. I'm queer like the feral love beast longing to belong but misunderstood, yet vibrantly blossoming free, loving their own wild hearts into full bloom. Thank you. Thank you for holding space for that piece. I appreciate you all. And again, you know, this is One Mic, One Globe. This will not be the last One Mic, One Globe. But I look, mic grows and takes new shape with a new host. And stay tuned for other amazing Los Angeles Poet Society events. Again, you know, this doesn't have to be the last poem that I just shared. I can hang back if anybody else wants to share words or poetry, type in Moon in the chat. But thank you all for being here. Thank you all for who shared on the mic tonight and who are just here enjoying the presence of, you know, community. So thank you. Anyone else, you can unmute, snap, you know, talk to each other, however you feel. I'll hang on for a little while and just enjoy this piece with you all. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was beautiful, right?
It was.
It was a great poem to end on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, thank you all. I hope you all stay connected. That's, you know, especially the features, you know, featuring together is a really, you know, beautiful moment of kinship. And so please stay connected and keep, you know, spreading the good poetry word.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you. I think this was the first, I don't know, I forgot where I met you guys.
Yeah.
But great, good stuff though.
Yeah, thank you for, being here regularly and supporting this space and sharing your poetry too with us. So yeah. Ooh, well, what a powerful night. Enjoy this full moon. Make sure you get out and howl. Think about the bats and the wolf story that we heard, and all the butterflies. And there was so much wildlife happening tonight. And I appreciate you all for tuning in and being wild with us too. So I'll go ahead and close this meeting. And again, thank you. And we'll stay in touch. If you want to stay in touch, you can follow me at The Poetic Petunia. That's also my email, thepoeticpetunia@gmail. So yes. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you again, features. I appreciate you all. Enjoy that moon.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.